Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to be featuring the Western Washington University's Intensive English Program and the university on the PassportEDU webinar. In the call today, we will be covering the academic programs offered by WWU, Western Washington University, as well as how to apply with PassportEDU and go over any questions that you may have. And so on today's call, we have Kate Batten and Molly Vogel, and I'll pass it off to Kate and Molly to introduce themselves, what they do at Western Washington, and how they would be interacting with international students as well as educational partners.
Thanks, Barb. So my name is Kate Batten, and I do the recruitment for our language and culture programs. These include both our intensive English program as well as our customized or specialized programs. So I manage those programs in addition to our agent communication with our partners.
And hi, my name is Molly. I process IEP applications and conditional admission applications. I provide immigration advising to our students.
Awesome. So would you guys be the first faces that students will see on campus when they arrive?
Yes. So we, in addition to doing all of the pre-arrival communication, we're also involved in the orientation and things when students arrive to campus.
Okay, awesome. And just intro over here. Hey guys, I'm Barbara Tassa. I started PassportEDU to make it really easy for international students to study in the United States, and we work with schools around the U.S., agencies, and students around the world.
So this is some information about how we support our international marketing associates. That is all of our contracted agents. So in addition to weekly communication, we have a variety of platforms such as Skype, WeChat, WhatsApp, and others to work with our agents. Also, we offer priority service to students. So we can normally process the applications in about 2 days or less when we've gotten those applications. We also have brochures and handbooks available in addition to a website for our agents, and we can create other promotional materials with our partners as well. In addition to that, we also offer a Skype training. So in looking at this, why Western Washington University? I've got a few photos to show you of our campus. There's Red Square with some students. Here's an international cooking class that we offer on campus. The photo there is one of our professors. She also works in the international office. She's doing a French cooking class with students. These are our students on an activity at the Tulip Festival that occurs every year. Here are some students this summer who are at Raspberry Festival, so another activity in the local community. Here's the students, one of our students on an activity visiting the Boeing airport where they create the airplanes. Here's the students at one of our lakes in Bellingham, so they can rent the kayaks and go boating. These are students on campus. We'll talk more about this later, but there's a conversation partner program we offer for our international students to meet Western Washington University students. Here's the students at a beach that's actually in Seattle, but this is another IEP activity we've done. Here are some IEP students presenting on a panel. This was part of their IEP coursework. Here's students visiting, they're going on a hike and visiting Mount Baker. And here are Western Washington University students. They've created a solar panel window, so this is where they're discussing some of their projects they've done in class. Okay, so in looking at Western, we're both known for our location, wonderful location, as well as our outstanding education and reputation. So we're a 4-year public university. And I'll start by talking a little more about where we're located. So we're located here in Bellingham, Washington. As you can see from the image, we're just above California and Oregon, very close to Canada. We're located near the ocean and by the mountains, so we're really in an ideal spot. There's more detailed information here. So we're right between Seattle, Washington, and Vancouver, BC. Because we're not a very large city, there's a lower cost of living compared to these larger cities. And Bellingham is a city of about 80,000, so it's both safe as well as convenient, and it's a very friendly community for students. Also in Bellingham, there's many outdoor activities such as hiking, skiing, and kayaking, so a lot of students love to come here for the outdoor activities as well. And to talk a little bit about our education programs at Western. So Western is accredited through the NWCCU, and there's about 15,000 students. 300 of those are international. Our university is mostly undergraduate programs, and there's over 200 student clubs at Western. So students can find clubs in things such as the Chinese Student Association, the Cross-Cultural Association, and then if there is something students are interested in and there's not already a club, students can create their own club. So we have a very active student body. Also, the IEP students and all university students have access to the campus resources. So these include the health center on campus, the residence halls and dormitories, the gym, dining halls, cafes, and then the transportation that will take them all over Bellingham. Okay, so here's information about Western's academic programs. So Western offers over 160 majors in about 8 colleges. Our Huxley College of the Environment is the oldest in the world, so that's a very well-known college that Western houses on their campus. Our graduate school, I did mention that Western is mostly undergraduate programs, but we do have a graduate school that offers MBA, computer science, and other programs. We have many niche programs at our university. This fall, they're introducing a new minor in sustainability that students can take. Western also offers pre-professional pathways in things such as pre-law and pre-pharmacy. So one of the great things and kind of unique things about Western is because it is mostly an undergraduate university, all of the students at the undergraduate level get amazing opportunities to work really closely with faculty on things like research and presentations. So it offers a really unique opportunity for these students even before they're studying masters and PhDs. Also at Western, the class sizes are pretty small since we are a medium-sized university. So the student-to-faculty ratio is about 21:1. So this way students really get to know their professors well.
So Kate, let me just jump in and ask a quick question here. Of the majors, are there certain programs you find that are more attractive to international students specifically than others?
I would say yes, for sure. I would say our College of Business and Economics, they offer a range of business courses in marketing and international business. This is definitely one where we've seen a lot of international students. We've also seen students in some of our science programs, so things like geology and biology. Another program that they've made big changes to is the engineering department. And in engineering, we have like a vehicle design program that's of high interest to students just because it's one of our more unique programs. So I would definitely say most of the students lean more towards the science and business, but then we of course offer other things in psychology and sociology that international students will also enter as well.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, great question. So our undergraduate admission requirements, they're pretty straightforward as you can see on this slide. We require the application, official transcripts, the application fee, a financial guarantee, of course, to create the I-20, and then a TOEFL or IELTS test is accepted. However, if students do not have the TOEFL and IELTS test, they can also enter IEP, and once they complete IEP, this is another pathway for students. And then international students will need a 3.0 GPA on a 4-point scale, and they've also included the application deadlines. And a little bit later, we'll talk about conditional admission, and the process and documents for conditional admission are the same as you see on this slide.
Cool. And Kate, we do get a lot of questions about transcripts, in what specific states you want them in. Like when you guys say official transcripts for Western Washington University or the intensive English program admissions, what does that mean for you guys? And does it have to be in a sealed envelope from the school, or how do you prefer it?
Good question. So we will accept scanned original documents electronically. And so normally we can make admissions decisions with that. If there are any questions or, sometimes, especially depending on the country and things, initially an electronic copy will be accepted, an electronic original.
Got it. Besides the TOEFL and then the IELTS exams, would you also look at comparable SAT, ACT, PT, any other either specifically English tests or other standardized tests students may have taken before they applied?
Our admissions department, they do a wonderful job. So we look really at the applications in a holistic way.
Okay.
So those would definitely strengthen an application. But also the great thing is if students don't have the ACT and SAT, that's not required, especially if they are going to do the conditional admission option through the IEP. So they definitely will look at that, and that could strengthen an application, but also they're not required exams.
Yeah, so what they'll do is they'll go ahead and they'll look at both scores in combination and use to typically make an admission decision with that. So they we have the required 6.5 IELTS or 82 for the TOEFL IBT. However, 80 for the TOEFL. But if the students are also submitting ACT or SAT scores, they will look at those in consideration with the TOEFL and the IELTS.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Here you can see the annual costs for Western. So as I mentioned before, our cost of living in Bellingham is lower than a lot of larger cities. So this allows us to be competitive with our tuition. So a lot of students find this very helpful. In addition, we help students get on-campus housing if they would like, so they can work on campus. You can see that also Western this last fall has started offering a scholarship opportunity for students. So if students have a 3.0 GPA or above, they will automatically qualify for this scholarship. And this is at the university level, not the IEP. So students will get a scholarship as long as their GPA stays above a 3.0 every year they're enrolled at Western. So as you can see, the 4-year total award can reach up to $10,000. And this slide just shows some of the ways Western's recognized across the country in addition to on a global scale. So for 15 years, U.S. News and World Report has recognized Western as the best in the Northwest for public master's granting universities. Also, we are ranked with a great value and community engagement. So Western students, faculty, and staff are very involved, both in our local community and abroad as well. So this creates a lot of opportunities for students.
Okay, thank you, Kate. This is Molly again, and now I will speak a little bit about our Intensive English Program, or IEP. So the Intensive English Program follows the same quarterly schedule as Western Washington University. We offer 4 quarters throughout the year, ranging from 9 to 10 weeks per quarter. There are 6 levels in the IEP, and we are very proud to offer small class sizes for optimal student learning. Each student will enroll in 24 hours of in-class instruction per week. IEP students also have the unique opportunity to apply for a conditional undergraduate admission, which we'll talk about more momentarily. This slide outlines IEP program start dates for the next 2 years. As you can see, the IEP is still accepting applications for fall quarter 2015. If there is anything from our presentation that does not meet your students' needs, our department also offers customized programs for groups of students with flexible start and end dates. The programs can be a blend of ESL, culture, and further academic content. For example, we hosted a group of Taiwanese teachers who did training with IEP as well as our education department here on campus. This summer, we are hosting another group from Japan that will study both ESL and STEM fields. This slide displays the quarterly cost for IEP. The total quarterly cost for IEP is $7,112. This is the minimum amount that must be reflected on the student's bank statement in order to create the I-20 form. Of course, the actual cost for the IEP will vary depending on housing and other factors.
Do most students come for just a quarter if they're working on the IEP? I know you mentioned there are 6 levels. What is the typical length of stay, for a student that does want to pursue like at the IEP as well as starting at Western Washington University? Would they come for a quarter, a year, or is it longer in most cases?
That's a great question. So yeah, we do get a wide variety of students. Some are coming just to study for a quarter or 2 and then return back to their home university. The students who are interested in matriculating to Western Washington University as an undergraduate or who are looking to better their English typically study about 3 quarters, 9 months to a year. Mm-hmm. And This is, of course, depending on their initial English level. So all students, when they first arrive, will take a placement exam, a series of placement exams, and then depending on these results, they'll be placed in a level tailored to their needs. For the I-20 form, the 7,112 is the minimum for 1 quarter of study. If the student has more funds reflected on their bank statement, we can make the I-20 for longer per their bank statement. However, it's really easy also to extend the I-20 form once the student is here. So even if the student plans to study for 1 year and their bank statement reflects funds of 8,000 or so, we can go ahead and make the I-20 and then make the adjustments once they arrive. So this slide shows the requirements for IEP admission. To complete the admission process, the IEP office needs the following documents listed here. As you can see, the $100 application fee, this fee includes the express mail service. If the student is interested in applying for conditional admission, they will submit the conditional admission application directly to the IEP office via PassportEDU. So that was the slide Kate had shown and spoke about earlier with regards to what documents the students need to submit for the conditional admission. If the student meets all the conditional admission requirements, the IEP office will issue all conditional admission acceptance documents. So this includes the Western Washington University acceptance letter within 2 business days or less. The IEP office will also issue the I-20 form and will make a clear remark that the student has been conditionally admitted as an undergraduate to Western Washington University, which can greatly aid the student in their F1 visa interview.
Okay, awesome.
Next slide. Great. The IEP office connects students to the following types of housing: on-campus dorms or dormitories or apartments, and off-campus housing, apartments or homestays. The deadline to apply for on-campus housing is 2 months before the program start date.
So after students get their offer letters or I-20s, what's the best process for students to follow when choosing housing?
Good question. So for students in the IEP, so typically what happens is after they're accepted to the IEP, in their IEP acceptance documents, we include a housing application. And on that application, they can indicate what type of housing they're interested in. And if they would like on-campus housing on that application, they'll complete a roommate profile, so that way housing can match them with a university student who has similar interests and things. And then if they are interested in off-campus housing, we will reach out to the student and give them resources about either applying for a homestay or an apartment in Bellingham. So we really help walk the students through that process. If students are going directly into the university, they'll apply for on-campus housing. They'll receive information via email regarding that as well, but it will be a lot more sort of independent just because they'll have more of the English background compared to the IEP students.
And would you say most students do choose that housing on campus, or do they prefer to live in the community in apartments?
It really depends. We've seen students from different countries to, prefer different options. We really encourage a lot of students, especially if they're new students, to live on campus, just because it's a great way to sort of integrate into the campus and meet other American students, because they can they'll live in the residence halls with other Western Washington University students. So it's really a great opportunity to participate in activities, meet Americans, practice their English, and they're also very close to campus. However, some students who do choose to live in apartments, it's also a great opportunity. They can find roommates and things like that. And then because the bus system is very good and the city bus pass is included with their student fees, they can easily take the bus to campus, or a lot of students could even walk because so many of the apartments are close to campus.
Okay.
So I would say really both are great options.
Okay, awesome.
The IEP dedicates 3 days to orientation. During the 3 days, students will become familiar with Western Washington University campus, along with subjects ranging from immigration, campus resources, activities in the community, and much more. Students will also complete level placement testing during this time and register for their classes. The IEP offers seasonal activities throughout the quarter, such as snow sports, trips to local attractions such as the Skagit Valley Tulip Festival, which is the picture in the bottom right of the students next to the windmill. The IEP office also makes every effort to connect our students with American students, and the community is evident in our programs such as the Conversation Partners that Kate mentioned earlier. Conversation Partners is a great program where IEP students are matched with American students, and they are set up to meet throughout the quarter.
So it sounds like the students have a lot of options, from academics as well as other activities. You mentioned something a little bit about conversational partners before. Could you tell us a little bit about like any student ambassador programs or ways that can really, they can feel involved in the community right away and supported?
Yeah, great question. So we do try from the moment the students get here in orientation until they leave, we try to give them every opportunity to really get involved in the campus, whether it is through student clubs, the conversation partner programs, or there is an ambassador program that once students enter the university classes, and that helps further integrate them into the university level. So I would say, we've seen the students who really make the most of their opportunities. It's those students who participate in activities, often live on campus and meet American roommates and things, and then get really involved once they enter the academic programs, whether that's joining clubs or getting involved with their program departments.
And I'd also add, Western Washington University is very receptive to international students. For our undergraduates, we have the highest volume of students entering the Peace Corps after completing their studies at Western Washington University. So we also really value, the international students on campus also contribute a lot to our domestic students. It's really like a great, mutually beneficial relationship.
Okay, great. That's awesome to hear. So if you are interested in sending your students to Western Washington University's IEP through PassportEDU, log in to the agent portal. So if you have an account already, click login or create your new account. From there, you can add the new students and search for Western Washington, and it'll show you the Western Washington IEP. You can just review any of the admission criteria and then click to apply right from the school page. Fill out the contact info and the rest of the application materials. You can pay the application fee right on PassportEDU and then submit the application for review. And as Kate and Molly mentioned, they're incredibly fast, 2-day turnaround for admissions, which is probably the fastest out of all the schools in our network. So you'll hear pretty quickly. Good. So that covers it. Kate and Molly, are there any other things that you wanted to leave with?
I would say, Bellingham is unique in that it feels kind of like a small town, but it really is, a larger city, so you can find anything that you would need, and this also allows the students to really be integrated in the community and get involved. So for me, the campus sort of, shows that same sort of a friendly small town campus. So anywhere the students go, they're very able to get involved and meet people from the local community and things like that. So I think that's the same reason I love it, is it's easy to meet people, easy to find things to do. It's a nice area.
And this is Molly again, and I might be a little biased because I've completed my undergraduate degree at Western Washington, International Business, and I'm also working to complete my master's program and my MBA here on campus as well. But I just, for me, the campus and community always has events going on, and there are so many things to do, and it's constantly you're hearing about these great projects that the faculty are working on, that the students are working on. We're constantly featured in, magazines and things across the country. And it's just, for me, it's really great to see so much activity.
Amazing. So you're both, Molly, you're working for the university and you're studying there currently, which is a pretty good testament to that it's an awesome school.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Cool. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you so much, Kate and Molly, for joining us in the webinar. I will make this available online. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to contact us or check out more on passportedu.com. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Barbara. Thank you.